The purpose of the episode today is just to validate however you're feeling about your job or your relationship or wherever you're at, with the season that you're in, the path that you're on, however you're feeling today, you are not alone and it's okay. You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. You know, summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Classroom podcast. As always, I'm so happy that you're here today and going to spend a few minutes chatting with me, or just me chatting, but you can always message me and we can talk, which is what I love, and this is why I do what I do. So today, this podcast obviously is mostly for teachers. So if you're not a teacher today, that's okay too. I feel like this needs to be said, and I need to just get this off my chest and off my heart. So today's episode is specifically for teachers, and over the past couple months, I have had so many conversations with teachers lately about how they're feeling about teaching. Feelings about where they're at and how they're feeling, what they're doing, and what teaching used to be. And a lot of teachers have reached out to me privately to talk about what they're going through and how they're feeling. And I completely get it because I've been through it, right? I was in the classroom for 14 years, and at the end of my time in the classroom, I was just miserable. And people reach out to me to talk about that, of course, about being, having a hard time and coming to terms with what teaching has become. But they also talk about, how they're happy with their students and they love their students so much, and they just don't like what teaching has become, all of the other stuff, right? So the sole purpose of this episode is just to tell you that you are not alone. No matter how you're feeling, you're not alone. And that can be helpful to hear, because sometimes when you're feeling these feelings and you're going through these things inside, you feel like you're the only one, right? Or you're crazy, or you're weird, or you shouldn't be feeling this way. And that is not true. No matter how you're feeling, you're not alone. Whether you're feeling burnt out and miserable, or you're just tired, or you're disappointed with what teaching has become, or maybe you're as happy as can be, or you love your students but are having a hard time with everything else teaching has become, like I said before, no matter how you're feeling, you are not the only one. And sometimes, like I said, it's just comforting to hear that you're not alone and you're not the only one feeling how you're feeling right now. And for many teachers who are feeling not so great about teaching right now, it's difficult, and I know it's difficult to admit that you're having these feelings about a job that you once really, really loved. And that can be tricky. A job you thought was going to be very different than it actually is. So when I decided to leave teaching, I would tell people that I was leaving my job because I was miserable. And naturally, especially people who didn't know me would ask, well, what do you do? What's your job? What are you doing? So when I would tell them that I was a teacher, the response that I would typically get was usually always the same. They would say, oh my gosh, why are you leaving teaching? That sounds so fun. Like, you get to play all day with kids, and you get the summers off, and you're off at 3 every day. And how hard can that possibly be? So if you're not a teacher, it's hard, incredibly hard to explain this feeling, and it can feel really silly, right? Or not validating to say that teaching is hard, but it is right now, especially with how teaching has become. And even I would even have family members who could see firsthand what my job was doing to me. they even had a hard time comprehending exactly what I was going through and just how hard it really was. And this is absolutely not to say that other jobs aren't hard or that teachers have it the hardest or anything like that. I know that we all have our struggles, right? However, again, purpose of the episode today is just to validate however you're feeling about your job or your relationship or wherever you're at with the season that you're in, the path that you're on, however you're feeling today, you are not alone and it's okay. So I spent the first 10 years of my career thinking that this is just how it is. This is just how teaching is. This is just how things are. And this is what you do when you grow up and you get a big girl job, right? You work all the time. You be available all the time. You constantly thinking about work and putting so much into your job. That's just how it is, right? We do things for free because we're teachers and that's just what we do, right? But I can actually assure you now, being on the other side of it, that this is not how it has to be. And it's actually not healthy to think that this is just how it is, because it's not. So if you are unhappy or if your gut is telling you that something is off or that something has to give, you are not a bad person. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not selfish. It doesn't mean that you don't love your students. It just means that you're working in a post-pandemic, completely broken education system in a different society than you were just a few years ago. And with the way teaching is going right now, I know and I understand and I feel that it's not sustainable, right? And I know that everyone's journey is their own journey and everyone has their own reasons for staying, for leaving, for starting a side hustle, and for making all of the decisions that we make. We're all just trying to do the best that we can, right, with what we have. Again, going back to this, just wanted to tell you that today you are not alone with however you're feeling. And I think it is so incredibly important to lift each other up no matter what your decision may be, whether you're planning on leaving or you're thinking about leaving, or maybe you haven't said it out loud yet, but you know something has to give, or whether you're planning on staying in teaching forever or staying in your career forever and you just need to make changes to stay. And whatever it is, wherever you're at, I feel like it's so important to just respect each other's decisions and just know that we are doing the best that we can and to support each other because we're doing the best we can, right? So hopefully this was helpful and hopefully someone out there just needed to hear this today, that you are not alone. And I know for me, when I was going through my transition out of the classroom and I had decided that I was going to leave, I know that it would have been helpful for me to hear these words and just to know you're not alone, you're not crazy, it's okay. Because I did. I was having a very difficult time at the end of my time in the classroom. And that's exactly why I've created this podcast and I've created a space here to validate you and help you out when you're ready to start making big moves. Again, whether that has to do with teaching or anything else in your life, when you're done settling and you're ready to make changes and you're ready to move forward, I am here. So we've also created a Beyond the Classroom Facebook group, which is a safe spot for teachers to connect and ask questions and explore who they are outside of the classroom. Again, whether that means leaving or staying, everyone is more than welcome. So you can pop on over there. I'd love to see you connect there. I'll leave links in the show note for this, in the show notes for you as well. And as always, I cannot wait to hear your thoughts and what resonates with you from this episode. So until next time, hang in there and just know that you are not alone, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.